Hi everyone, this is Mike Heydrich. I got my Radiant Floor heat filled and powered up today, so I'm going to give you an overview of the components I used to build the system. I'm using an electric EcoSmart 27 kilowatt instant hot water heater as my boiler. It uses three 40 amp circuits. Those are 8 gauge wires, and I have those terminated at outdoor disconnects used for air conditioners. It makes it a nice way to give yourself a switch for the boiler, so you can actually turn off each of the circuits. It's not to provide overload circuit protection, just for a disconnect. So the boiler, the hot water heater, uses 3/4 inch fittings in and out. I'm using 3/4 inch PEX, and these are the Watts quick fit settings. That makes it real nice install. They work with PEX, copper, PVC. There's no sweating, and the beautiful thing about them is you just push them on and you're able to actually rotate them slightly, so it makes doing the install and building the panel a lot easier. I've got a pressure and temperature gauge coming right off of that, and it has a service port, so you can actually remove the valve or remove the gauge if you have problems. These are the standoffs I'm using to mount my system. Next we have the Honeywell Auto Air Eliminator Supervent. That is a micro screen that removes micro bubbles from your system. Off of that, I've got a thermal expansion tank here. This expansion tank's probably even a little large for the system I'm using. I'm heating 2,560 square feet with about 2,650 foot of 1/2 inch PEX in my concrete floor. That's what this system is pumping water and glycol mix through. Going over, we've got a pressure relief valve at the top there, and then it comes down, and this is a isolator service valve that allows you to actually remove or put the fluid into the system, and it's on a rotating pump flange that then is connected to the ground FOS circulator pump. This is my primary pump. These pumps are the UPS 26-99FC. They're rated at 16 horsepower, and they have 0 to 33 gallons per minute. There's 3 different speeds that you can set this pump. I got a pretty good deal on them on eBay, so I just used that for both my primary and secondary pump. Should really size your pumps based on the amount of PEX you have in your floor. These particular pumps have a head range of 0 to 29 feet. After that, we have another isolator service valve. This is actually where you would introduce the fluid into your system, and the one at the top is where you would remove fluid or remove air from your system as you're doing your filling. This goes down into the 3/4 inch to 1 inch purge tee. This is basically your mixing valve that's going to mix the primary and secondary loops in your system. We're now switching over to 1 inch, and now this is an isolator ball valve here. Before the secondary pump, I'm only doing one zone because it's all just to heat my shop, so I only have the one pump. There's another ball valve, which then goes down, and then there's the manifold. This is an RHT 9-loop manifold. I bought the PEX and manifold system from Blue Ridge Company. You buy it based on the size of your building. So the bottom is where the water enters the floor, and then it gets returned at the top. That's the blue connector there. Still 1 inch Watts fittings and PEX, which then goes back up into the other side of that purge tee, and then we go up and we have another temperature and pressure gauge, and then I have a clear Y strainer. This is pretty nice for any system that is considered low temperature, because you're able to see the actual fluid moving, and then that enters again through the cold inlet to the boiler. So the way this works is there's a Taco 501 one-zone switching pump relay that when the thermostat in the floor calls for heat, Then that switches the coils on the relays, and then that sends 120 volts to both of the pumps. And when those pumps start moving, they'll move water through the system. And when that boiler, when that instant water heater sees the water moving in the floor or through the system, then it turns on. So I have it set pretty high just because it's a pretty warm day, and I've been playing with it to get it to run. So we'll turn it up, set to 73 degrees. And then once the thermostat registers that, it'll turn on. You'll see the little system. And if we go up here, now we see the 100 degrees on, because now, I don't know if you can hear it, these are considered the noisy pumps, and they're very, very quiet. So I can only imagine if you spend a lot more money on your circulatory pumps, you would probably get even less than this. But these are very quiet pumps. And since they're moving, and you can see here the clear strainer, you might be able to see motion, but I have all of the air out. We ran it quite a bit when we filled it and purged everything. The water is actually flowing through the system, and so we have, I can't really read the temperature gauge from here. Looks like somewhere around 80 or so degrees, but that'll climb up as the water moves through from the boiler. And coming out of the floor, we've got water at about 80 degrees already. Looks like we're, with the pumps running, we're sitting at about 23 psi on as far as pressure. So all of these parts I purchased from Menards, except for the boiler came from Amazon, and the pumps came from eBay. And Blue Ridge Company sold me the pole barn kit for the Pexin manifolds. Even the wiring and the disconnects also came from Menards. So if you have a Menards local, it's a great place to pick up the parts. This is a blatant copy of the HydroShark integrator panel that I read about online. I just built it myself because buying the individual parts, you'll save quite a bit. So if you're a little handy and can sweat some pipe and make some fittings, you can do that, and it'll allow you to get a lot nicer pumps than come with their small low temperature setting. These pumps are a lot nicer than the ones on the 120 integrator panel. So anyways, this is my system here, all connected up. Thanks to my buddy Tony for helping me get it assembled and helping me fill it up and purging the system. Blatant shot of my slat wall that's going to be the walls of my shop. These are 1.5 inches thick walls. Using R19 insulation, batt insulation behind it. There's a shot of the 45, so you can see that it's like a slat wall, basically a French cleat. I used adjustable boxes so that I could put all of my outlets through 1.5 inches of plywood and still have them flush. You can say even on my 220 volt outlets that I still have those there. So lots of progress on the building, still a lot of work to do. Lots of insulation, tons and tons and tons of plywood for the walls and ceiling. More plywood way over there. Some binder bins, and beauty shot of the lights in the center of the building. So, alright everyone, have a great day. If you have any questions, post them up. Get a hold of me. I've got build logs on Sawmill Creek and WoodNet and Garage Journal if you're interested in seeing more about the shop or the Radiant floor. Update it pretty regularly. Have a great day.